Again,
This
good morning.
conference will now be recorded.
And now I'm going to call the meeting to order. And thank you for joining ASCDI this morning, this afternoon, depending on where you are. ASCDI is a non-for-profit organization, and as such, we're governed by our bylaws. And the bylaws call for ASCDI to have annual meetings, to have elections of officers, to disclose our financials to our members. And pre-COVID, we used to have our annual meetings physically in various locations around the world. But as ASCDI has grown internationally, it's becoming more and more challenging for us to hold these annual meetings physically. And so we're trying this year for the first time to do our annual meeting online. We're going to see how it goes. If this goes well, I think what we'd like to do is do several membership meetings this year and move the time zones around. For example, some of our members in Asia right now can't join us. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. So we'd like to maybe move these around so that we can accommodate all of our members. But we're going to try doing these meetings on a more regular basis online. So again, I want to thank you all for joining us today. Uh, Real quickly, I'm going to go through the agenda for today. Gail, would you go ahead and go through that, please?
Sure. We're going to go through the financial report as of January 2024. We're going to review the bylaw changes, our chairman's address from Todd Bone, nominating committee report, and we're going to review the upcoming ASCDI events, and Joe Marion is going to end with the state of the ASCDI.
Great, thanks. So first of all, what I'm going to do is deliver our treasurer's report on behalf of Carsten Marcel, our treasurer. He could not make it today. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of a financial update where we are. And I jumped ahead a little bit here. Okay, so if you look at the screen, you can see our P&L. This is as of January 30th of this year. And hold on, that was the balance sheet. There's the P&L. P&L. As of January, we brought in total income of about $334,000. You can see the expense side. We had expenses about $277,000. A little bit of interest, leaving us with a net income of about $57,000. ASCDI's fiscal year runs from March 1st. April 1st to March 30th. So we're almost at the end of our fiscal year. And if you're looking up at the screen, you can see last year was not a great year. 2022 was not a great year. We actually lost money. We lost about $47,000. We're on a run rate this year to break even, probably make a few dollars. We've done that by a couple different ways. We've reduced a lot of our expenses, and we've started to make a little bit of a profit on our meetings. We pulled back on the meetings, during COVID. Started attending other people's meetings, like the broker bid meetings and so forth. This year, you'll hear later on today, we're going to be going back out there again and starting the meetings again. So this year we're on a run rate to again break even, make a few dollars profit. On the balance sheet side, we have about $460,000 in assets. Most of that's in a checking account, in a money market account. Liabilities, we have about 30,000 in payables and so forth. 30,000 payables. We have a future income, 296. That's our dues for the upcoming year. We build out our dues in January, but we don't realize that income until April. And that pretty much is our balance sheet and our P&L. What I'd like just a motion to accept the treasurer's report as delivered. Anybody?
Motion.
Seconded.
Motion.
Okay. Any discussion? Any questions on the treasurer's report? Anybody? Okay, then all in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Great. Thank you, guys. Arthur, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Good. Thank you. This year we took on the project of amending the bylaws. Bylaws hadn't been amended in, I guess, close to 15 years or more. And we found that we wanted to address some issues that really had changed within the association. So the board had several things that they wanted accomplished. One was to make the bylaws reflect a little change in membership and the rise and increase in ITAD members and ITAD focused companies even that were in the association before. So many of the language changes were just to address those changes within the membership. We also wanted to codify what Joe was just discussing, and that is the reality of the annual meetings. The old bylaws required 2 annual meetings a year. And even though under Texas law, which is the governing law for our association where it is registered, you were allowed to have virtual meetings. We really were not abiding by those requirements. In fact, later we're going to ask you to ratify the fact that we didn't hold all of those meetings. So we've amended the bylaws now to require just 1 annual meeting, and that meeting could be virtual, as we're doing today. And then finally, one of the biggest changes was to change the terms, the number of years that officers could serve. Because the board found that it was jumping through hoops to try to keep some active and contributing members of the board and officers on the board or in their positions because of the limited requirements under the bylaws. So the changes allow directors to serve 3-year terms, but up to 3 3-year terms. So theoretically, a director could serve for 9 years, and if they're elected to 3 different 3-year terms, and then they could be off the board for 1 year and come back again if they are reelected. Uh, I might parenthetically, the board observed that really there has been an influx of new members on the board from different aspects of the industry, but even so, the limitations in the bylaws were making it difficult to plan and nominate an appropriate group of directors and officers. So the bylaws as amended will allow directors to serve for up to 9 years, 3 consecutive 3-year terms, and also to allow officers to serve for 9 years, and if they're off for a year, to come back on to serve as an officer again. I note that those positions don't include the president, who is Joe Marion, and because it's not covered by those limitations, and the assistant secretary, if that person is the association counsel, which is the role I serve in. So I'm assistant secretary, and there's no term limit. There's only a limit if I'm no longer association counsel. Before I ask for a motion to accept the changes to the bylaws, let me just open up and see if there are any further questions or comments that anyone has regarding the changes.
Arthur, I just want to add one clarification. We sent out several times copies of the bylaw changes, so all the association members have had a chance to review the bylaw changes. And Arthur, you might be frozen.
Yes. Okay, so then I'll ask for a motion to accept the changes to the bylaws as presented to the membership. A motion?
Motion. I'll make the motion.
And a second.
Second.
Okay. Now, many members have voted via proxy, which Joe holds, and can cast those votes today. All of the proxies that were received were, sorry. all of the proxies that received were in favor of the changes, save for one. There was one no vote regarding the amendments to the bylaws. Otherwise, the opportunity to vote today, even if you voted by proxy, you can vote the same or change your vote this time. So if you will unmute yourselves for a moment, and I ask that all in favor of the changes to the bylaws say aye.
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 I
Aye. Aye.
And now, are there any opposed to the changes to the bylaws? Speak up, please. And are there any abstentions to the changes to the vote? Then the changes to the bylaws are passed and accepted, and we'll file the new bylaws with the Secretary of State in Texas following this. The bylaws take effect as of January 1st, so that they really retroactively to the beginning of this year.
Arthur, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Next, I want to bring on our chairman, Todd Bone. Todd's been chairman for just about 4 years now. He's one of the few chairmen that have lasted that many years. But Todd, it's been a pleasure really working with you. You've brought us through a lot of hard times. Think back, in the past 4 years, COVID, then we had after COVID, changes with right to repair, changes with manufacturers, and Todd's kind of guided us through all of that. So, Todd, I really, it's been a pleasure working with you and becoming a closer and closer friend. So, I really want to thank you for what you've done for ASCDI and our industry.
Let me get the tissues. 1 second. No, but you're right, Joe. I mean, I think the first 2 years I was chairman, we were in a defensive posture because of COVID and trying to figure out how we're going to keep the organization growing, the members motivated, and how are we going to do online, meetings, which ended up being online, which I think turned into a really good thing because we also started transitioning to ITAD. Seeing the opportunities in the marketplace for growth. I think we got a little bit stagnant with the number of companies that were just simply reselling product. We had some competition from, some of the smaller entities just joining BrokerBin. And so, by transitioning to ITAD, we created our own, ASCDI ITAD certified status, and did a lot of partnerships with Siri and Adissa and the other groups that are doing the certifications. And then we started the annual disposition ITAD conference, which I think has been extremely well attended. And that's gotten us into, starting to have other subjects come up in terms of like acquisitions that we're now covering. Obviously the certifications from ITAD, and what's the growth of the industry, which I think the ITAD industry has a tremendous opportunity for growth. We did, and then Steve Studley was the new elected chairman who sold his company and then retired. So I took over for Steve. I think the steam starts running out as you get to the 4th year, but we were able to bring on a number of new board members that are in the ITAD community, and I think that sets us up for excellent growth moving forward. Also some of the other things that had happened, we were the only nonprofit that was asked by the EU to be on the Surpass committee representing all ITADs for the rollout of the digital product passport in Europe, which is very impressive. We assisted Repair.org in getting legislation passed in New York, Minnesota, Colorado, and California, and more states are on the agenda for 2024, as well as making some changes to the legislation that was passed in Minnesota and New York, which at the last minute the opposition were able to get their lobbyists in there and not make it as powerful for us. We've been involved with, federal legislation. We assisted Obata launch, the Carfax type blockchain for IT assets, which, we've got high hopes for. And, I think the most beneficial part of ASCDI is the code of ethics, which Karen and Arthur have been very involved in. And, if you really think about it, we really haven't had any disruptions in the last 4 years from members that are, doing something, unkind to other ASCDI members. So we've proven out that theory. And I think that that's just something strong that team, Joe, that we've got in place to run those ethics hearings, and Karen does an absolutely amazing job of trying to make sure that it doesn't even get to that situation. So that's fantastic. And then, we still snuck in some great events in addition to the online events. We've had in-person events in Plano, Texas, Paris, France, at some of the summits, and some of the other conferences in Cincy, in Minnesota. And then I think we've come out of the COVID era stronger as an organization with direction and with an opportunity to add more members. And I think that we're leaving it in good shape with excellent board members that have come on and an opportunity for growth. So that's kind of how I see it. It's been my pleasure to share. Certainly, I can't account for even a majority of the work. It's all done by you, Joe, and your team, and Gail and Billy, and then of course the board, which you can move into. Next slide.
Next slide. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was so intrigued with your presentation.
Thank you. So yeah, and so there's the current officers. We were able to add Eric and who else from the ITAD? Charlie Lewis. Neil's gotten into ITAD service certifications. Andreas is ITAD certification. Sherry has ITAD certifications. We added Aaron with ITAD certifications. And I'm not sure I missed anybody from the ITAD team. We've got the membership team to thank. We've added strong people in on Dresage. Corey, Brett does an outstanding job being from Asia. Karsten did a fantastic job as the finance chair, if you will. I don't think we've had, he took over for Thomas, right? In the finance area, and it's been extremely smooth sailing. And then we've got James over there in New Zealand, and Daniel at Exabyte, mentioned Karen, and Stefan Miller, of course, always with his wisdom that he's added. But I think it's been a great board, very congenial. Everybody's always contributed when asked, and can't thank everybody else. Oh, Anwar at Green Tech on the ITAD team too. So you can see half the board are now ITAD certified, and I think that we're just poised in an excellent position to move forward with our new our first time European chairman, and I'm happy to hand it over to Andreas. So thanks everybody, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Again, thank you too.
Thanks,
And while we're saying our goodbyes, or see you later. Not goodbye. Goodbye is too strong a word. I want to thank Arthur Fryerman, our legal counsel, association counsel. Arthur has announced his retirement at the end of March. Arthur, how many years have you been legal counsel for ASCDI?
This is year 14.
Okay, it's a long time.
Since 2003. But it's also year 40. It's the 40th anniversary of my marriage, 40th since I entered the computer industry, computer leasing in the first case, and the 40th, my daughter's 40th birthday. So it's a big year.
Wow.
Arthur, are you leaving just the association or leasing as well? Are you completely just withdrawing yourself?
I'm hanging it up. I'm going to focus on let's see, gardening, golf, pickleball, table tennis,
Nice,
reading, things like that. Scuba
nice.
diving.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Well, again, Arthur, thank you because you also helped guide us through some difficult, troubling times. So I want to thank you for your friendship and your guidance as well.
Thank you.
All right,
Mind if
let me
I?
move right along. Speaking of Arthur Fryman, Arthur, you're back. We want to talk about the nominating committee.
Okay, so the bylaws require the board to appoint a nominations committee chaired by the chairman, and the nominating committee be made up of
Hey, Arthur, hang on a second. We got some feedback here. Let me see if I can.
so mute yourselves, folks, if you're not.
Yeah, just mute everybody, Joe.
Message. Arthur, keep going.
Okay, good. So the nominations committee is made up of 7 members: the chairman of the board, the past chairman of the board, who serves as chair of the nominating committee, and 5 regular members. This year, the nominating committee was made up of Neil Vill as past chairman, who chaired the nominating committee, Todd as chairman of the association, Andre Krupka, Thomas Welton, Tom Hansen, Rick Loudon, and Stuart Hall. Some of you are, if not all of you, are on the call. And on behalf of Neil, who couldn't be here at the meeting today, and on behalf of the board, members nominated their efforts in putting together the slate. And this is the slate that of officers and directors that the nominating committee has put forth and was approved for presentation to the membership by the board of directors. As chairman, Andreas Fibiger, VP Ethics, Karen McGoy, treasurer, Karsten Marcel, continuing in that position, past chairman, Todd Bone, that you become past chairman, Todd, in another few minutes. VP APAC, Asia Pacific is Brett Rogers. Secretary Andre Krupka, and VP USA Neil Vill. It's the first time that the nominating committee has nominated someone with that title, and under the bylaws, the board can appoint additional vice presidents or put up additional vice presidents for election. And this year was
Arthur,
for,
Arthur,
yeah,
Arthur, start again. You started this year, and then you started digitizing.
okay. This year, since the board has nominated, the nominating committee has presented and the board has approved for nomination a European chairman of the association, they also put forth a VP USA for the first time, and that would be Neil Vill. In addition, directors that were nominated whose terms were up or whose 3-year terms were up, Charlie Lewis, Daniel Villaveses, and Anwar Garcia. And of course, there are the other members who you saw on the slide before who are continuing to serve their terms: Sherry Shear, Stefan Miller, Eric Ingebrigtsen, Aaron Zepper, Corey Donovan, and James Lancaster. I hope I didn't leave anyone out. We also have on the board and the secretary, who's association counsel. That was me. I served as assistant secretary on the board and will continue to do so until the end of March. So those are the nominees, and the proxies that Joe holds all were voted in favor of the nominated slate, but you have the opportunity now to vote again or to change your vote if you want. So I'll ask for a voice vote, all in favor of the slate as presented to the membership. Please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Great. And are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Then the new board of directors and new officers are hereby elected.
Great.
Now you're.
And I think he said now you're past chair.
Thank you.
Is Andreas still here? Because I know he do I see? Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm here, but I'm leaving as we're speaking, basically. So I'm gonna have to do my address on the next meeting. So
Okay,
big thanks to
fine.
Todd. Thank you very much. But I'm literally
Okay.
in the elevator heading out.
No problem. Yeah, so Andreas has actually he's taking his daughter to she's participating in a tennis tournament in France right now. So he had to kind of run out a little bit early today, but I want to congratulate Andreas. I'm real excited about having our first European chair. We've come a long way, guys. I remember when I first joined ASCD, when I was still a dealer, we talked about let's expand ASCDI overseas, Europe and Asia. And a couple of the board members said, well, until we have every dealer in the United States, why should we go overseas? And that was back in the late 80s, early 90s. And but it really has become a global international market. And in recognition of it, I think ASCDI board of directors was smart enough to choose a European director. One other thing I want to say before we start talking about the upcoming events, Europe is really leading the world, having with ITED, circularity. I think U.S. is kind of a little bit behind it. So having a chairman from Europe is going to kind of help us be at the tip of the arrow, if you will, as to what's going on, having to do with circularity and data protection, data erasure. So again, it's just the right time for us to have a European chair, and I'm really looking forward to working with Andreas. So Andreas, thank you if you're still there, and thank you for all your past work at the board. Let me turn over to Billy Marion, who's going to tell us a little bit about our upcoming events. Hey, you're muted, Billy, or something. You're not really muted, but I'm not hearing you. Do I have to help you with your technology? You have to help these young guys with their technology all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Try again. All right, I guess I'm doing it. Okay, all right, not a problem. Billy, I'll talk. You move your lips, okay?
Sounds good.
Oh, there you got. We got it.
You got it? All right. All right. Hey, everyone. How's it going? So on March 1st, we have our next monthly happy hours event. It's a free virtual event where all of our industry members can jump on a video call and openly discuss industry trends, ideas, and concerns. Our last monthly event was actually very interesting, getting to hear a lot of the old stories from longtime ASCDI members. So again, it's free. If you're available on March 1st, try to make it. It is a really good time, interesting conversation.
There's no real agenda. Just kind of we want to get up to talk about what's going on in your company, what's going on in the business. It's just a time to kind of share information with each other.
On June 13th, we're going to have our second edition of our networking boat cruise on Lake Minnetonka, about 20 minutes away from downtown Minneapolis. The boat can hold about 50 total attendees, and we're already about halfway there. We've only announced it like 2 weeks ago. So if you guys want to get on there, jump on, get registered. We will sell out quickly. Dinner and an open bar are included in the registration part and in the registration price. Like I said, go register before we run out.
Sponsors? You want sponsors for that one?
Huh?
You gonna take sponsors?
Oh yeah, we're looking for sponsors. If you guys want to sponsor, reach out to me.
Do we have a
Next
list of
slide.
attendees for that?
Sorry?
Do we have a list of attendees?
Yeah, yes, I can get that to you if you'd like.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so these next events aren't set in stone. A lot of it is actually, let me take that back. The first one is set in stone. The ASCDI and RLA Summit. It's going to be in Amsterdam of the week of June 18th. This is the part that's up in the air. We're kind of deciding how much involvement we're going to have at the conference. We are looking to do a panel at the conference focusing on secondary IT in reverse logistics. And then we're also in the talks of having an ASCDI member dinner and meeting one of the nights while we're there. More information is going to be coming soon. Should be pretty solidified here in the next week or two. Anything you want to add on that?
Well, you just RLA is the Reverse Logistics Association, and they came to us and they said, we really, we deal with reverse logistics. Companies like Walmart returning their goods and so forth. So there'll be a lot of those kind of large companies having to do with returns of some technology equipment, other products as well. They came to us. They said, we really want to expand our ITAD presence, and you're the organization, so we decided that we would partner with them in Amsterdam, and we'll present the ITAD side of the industry, if you will.
All right. And then lastly, this is the one that's up in the air. We've been talking, going back and forth for the last few weeks, talking about doing an ASCDI executive retreat. I think that we've landed on Key West, Florida, in July, immediately following the ITAD summit, which is also in Fort Lauderdale, so it'll make for easy travel while everyone's already down there. Couple days of executive focused content and thought leadership stuff, coupled with excursions around the Florida Keys with some of our industry's best execs. Like I said, we're still early in planning, so if you are interested in attending, please let us know. It'll definitely help us plan the event. Yeah, but
And
that's
then just one little correction, Billy. The only thing, the July date is not in stone yet. So we have a committee that's working on this, and we're going to discuss it with the committee. Some of us think we should do it in July, right after the ITAD summit. Some of us think we should do it later in the year. We'll get back to you once that's kind of nailed.
That's all we got for events.
Thanks, Billy. Okay, just a couple closing comments, and then if there's anything else anybody else wants to add, feel free to do so. As Todd said during his presentation, ASCDI was. Oh wait, let me back up. Arthur, I think you. One of the things that ASCDI has, because I'm backing up a minute, guys. ASCDI's code of ethics. We, as you all know, we have a code of ethics. The code of ethics is a peer review kind of process where if companies violate our code of ethics, we assemble a committee of peers, and we hear both sides, and we come up with a finding. So we have an insurance policy that protects the association because of that code of ethics. And one of the things the insurance company asks us for is to make a motion at every one of our annual membership meetings. And so, Arthur, can you help me with that motion, please?
Yes, and it's not just for ethics. It's really in a lot of, or all, as far as I know, not-for-profit associations and what the board is. And one of the things we need to ratify or waive is the fact that we have not been able, because of COVID and other reasons, to have those 2 annual meetings that I told you the bylaws used to require. So what I'd like to ask for is a motion to ratify the actions of the board of directors, including the inability to have those annual meetings since the last annual meeting that was held. Can I hear such a motion?
I make that motion, Arthur. Thomas.
Second.
Thank you, Thomas. Seconded. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any,
Aye.
any opposed? The motion is passed. Thank you,
Excellent.
Joe.
Thank you. So ASCDI, I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of at least my interpretation of where I see the association and where I see the industry. ASCDI and the industry, I believe, is very strong. You know, when our forefathers, the guys who really came up with the concept of the ASCDI in the 70s, they created, this ethics process, and the ethics process they created in the 70s had to do with transactions, had to do with, am I going to ship it on time? Am I going to pay for it on time? And due to that, because of that ethics process, we saved our members literally millions of dollars over the years. Well, that ethics process is still important today. Today, it's not only having to do with transactional, buy, sell, paying for stuff, but it has to do with ITAD. It has to do with, are you going, if you promise to erase the drives according to a certain specification, did you follow through on that commitment? If you promise to make sure that the equipment is disposed of in an environmentally friendly manner, and it ends up in a landfill, that would be considered a violation of code of ethics. So, really the code of ethics is as relevant today as it was back in the 70s. And ethics is important to ASCDI. We're different than other organizations. Very often we're compared to some of these trading platforms, and trading platforms. You fill out the application, you pay a bill, and you're a member of the trading platform. ASCDI is different. We require companies to give us references. We check those references when they apply for membership, and then our membership gets to vote on admitting or not admitting a company. At the end of the day, we want, it's not about numbers. When the ASCDI first started, I think we had 25 members. It's not quantity, it's quality. And from time to time, we do turn down applicants for membership because they don't really they don't vet out very well. We check the references and there are problems. We want the ASCI to continue to be, the sign of a good ethical dealer, and it's served us well since the 70s, and it's still serving us well today. I am positive. I'm positive about the industry. I'm positive about where it's headed. ASCI is the only organization that represents ITADs to U.S. Customs, and so we're on a monthly U.S. Customs Advisory Council advising Customs how to deal with import-export issues with our segment of the industry. We're the only association that was selected, as Todd said, by CIRPAS. CIRPAS is an arm of the EU government, and the EU has announced that they're going to be implementing a digital product passport in the next several years. They're going to want to track electronic goods from cradle to grave. And they said, we need to get somebody who represents the ITAD industry internationally. They came to us and they selected ASCDI to serve on the CIRPAS Advisory Council for the digital product passport. We're the only organization that has been involved with blockchain here in the United States. We're involved with a project with the Obata Group, and we're going to be, the Obata Group has a blockchain initiative, which is going to define how stakeholders in the circular economy can share information. If you erase a disk, how do you share that? If you sell a product, how do you make sure that it's the only one sold? If a product ends up being disposed of at the end of its life, how do we record that? So Obata has created a standard, which is right now before ISO and probably going to be approved by ISO, a standard by which people in our industry can share information. So you'll have silos of personal information, but it can all be shared together. And the whole idea is to make sure that we're transparent, that when a company looks at a used product versus a new product, they can make an intelligent decision. They can say, the used product entered the market and such, the drive was wiped, the memory was replaced, and they can make an intelligent decision whether to buy new or whether to buy used. And that's what the Obata blockchain product's all about. So I am excited. I'm excited about the opportunity for our industry. The laws are changing. The right to repair laws are changing around the country, a little bit at a time, but it's happening. It's being considered by the federal government. All these things bode very well for the secondary market of technology equipment and the services, and whether it's blockchain, digital product passport, whatever it is. I think it's going to open itself up for so many services and opportunities in our industry that I've really never seen before. So I feel very positive. We got the wind at our back right now, and I think there are some great things to come for our industry and for our association in years to come. I want to thank you all. Thank you all for joining us today. The next membership meeting, we're going to hopefully get a lot more people in. When we announced we were doing the membership meeting, nobody knew what it was all about. So you guys, I see a lot of old timers, a lot of folks that have been around and understand what this is all about. And we're going to do hopefully a better job getting the rest of our members on board for the next membership meeting. But I want to thank you. Thank you for your support of ASCDI. Thank you for your support of the industry. And thank you for being, the ethical friends that I love to call friends. So thank you guys very, very much. Before I just close it out, any new business, anything to cover? Okay. With that, then just a motion to close the meeting out.
Motion.
A second.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nobody wants to stay? Okay, then we'll close it out. Thank you guys very much. Have a good day.
Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
everyone. Thanks.
Bye-bye.